Hey everyone, it's Devon from the Maniology team with our weekly live every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. You can find us here on another nail stamping journey. Whether it's a tutorial, technique, or hack, we're here to discuss the details and we're so happy you could join. Hey everyone, hi Liz, thanks for joining us. So if you don't know, today's topic is all about nail powders. What are they? How do you apply them? Why do they cost so much? What are the different types? I know you guys have all these questions and more, and we frequently get these questions too. One of the big ones that we get is, why does it cost so much? How come there's so little in it? Like, what's the deal with all of that? So today I'm going to be explaining all of that to you and show you guys some different powders that we carry. Hey, Christy, thank you so much for joining us. So you're going to notice that today I'm wearing the glove on one hand. It's because that hand badly needs some love and care. We haven't had a chance to do it, so that's part of the reason why. But let's get started talking about some of these powders because I know you guys are really curious. You're always asking us questions. So let's dive right into it. Okay, so if you do not know what nail powders are, they are different types of art powders. So I want to specify it's not like acrylic powder. That does not count as like a nail art powder. It could be chromes, holograph, mirror, duochrome, and even very, very fine glitter. So I know that a lot of times usually glitter is separate. I think there are some times where glitter could be considered as a powder. For example, our sparkling palms glitter is extremely, extremely fine. So when you stamp it onto the nail, it's actually completely smooth. Like you don't get that textured glitter effect. So that's part of the reason why I decided to include it in today's nail art powders. This is another popular type of powder and it's flaky. So flakies come in all different colors. Sometimes they're clear and translucent. Sometimes they're metallic. Sometimes they're duochrome. For example, this is a duochrome flaky that we carry. And this is another type of powder, and this is like, how do I explain? It's like an illusion powder. So you see green right now because that's the reflection that it flashes. And you can definitely see it on like a hard surface since it could cling to the cap. But as soon as I open this, it's white. It's like a white looking powder. So that's kind of what it is. How you apply it, let's just move this all away. And let me show you how to apply it. So I already not stamped, but I painted this nail with our straight up black. And as you can see, it's already dry to the touch. I don't have any of it on the nail tip or my finger. Then you're gonna need a sticky base coat. You could do this with regular polish, and I'm gonna show you how to do that, but this is a little bit of a more, let's say, foolproof way to do this. So give me one sec. I'm gonna put our nail tip on a stand so that way it makes it a little easier. Then you're gonna apply one coat of your sticky base coat. And a lot of people ask, oh, can you use nail foil glue? Not recommended for this type of technique because nail foil glue leaves like brush strokes. I don't know if you guys have used nail foil glue before, but a lot of times because the formula is thicker, it actually has a tendency to like leave the brush mark. So we don't want that look. Next, you're going to need a stamper. Use one that's like torn. So if you ever have a torn stamper, keep it. It's perfect for powders. We're going to let our sticky base dry. And I think I'm going to pick scarab wings. So you're going to use scarab wings with... So you can do it this way too, where you literally just stamp it on the stamper like this. This is tons of powder. We do not need any more. And all you do is you can take your finger and just rub it in there. Voila, just like that. That is so much powder. That's all you need. And you could probably do multiple nails with the amount of powder on this stamper head, especially if your nails aren't very long. Let's just double check this. Yep, it's perfect timing. Then you're just gonna stamp it on the nail, just like so. Whoop. And as you can see, we have a very, very beautiful finish. Isn't it gorgeous? Look at this duochrome magic. When I'm holding it up here, let me try and move this away. You can see like purple, green, gold when I move it around. That is the mark of high quality powder. And while we're on the topic, since I showed you guys how to apply it, I am also going to show you what the difference is between high quality powder is and low quality powder. Amy's asking, was it still tacky or more dry when you stamped the powder onto the sticky base? It was more dry. So when I'm going to be doing this process again multiple times because I want to talk about the different powders and show you guys what they look like. So don't worry if you missed it. I will show you like let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more times. So we've got quite a few powders to discuss. So yeah, you guys will definitely have another opportunity to see me apply it. Now let me show you the difference between low quality and high quality powder. Low quality powder and high quality powder definitely affects the cost and amount of powder you will get. High quality powder requires a lot of high quality pigments, and that can be very, very, very pricey. I help work on a lot of the products we bring in. So most people would never know the difference because if you aren't used to seeing high quality and low quality powders together, which I've tested several, probably hundreds of powders by now, you're not going to realize that there actually is a quality difference. So while we discuss this, I'm going to start working on that second tip so that way you can see the difference between a low quality powder and a high quality powder. So we're just going to apply our sticky base coat, and then you're going to give it about 30 seconds to a minute to dry. There you go. Just apply it all over the nail. Then I'm going to set this aside so I don't accidentally knock it. I'm going to go ahead and clean my stamper on my sticky stamping station. So if you don't have one of these, you got to check it out because it is truly life-changing. It'll make your stamping game so much cleaner, so much easier. And I usually go ahead and just do that. Just stamp it on. It's the easiest way to clean your stamper, especially if you are working with powders, because the pigments can be very difficult and very fine to get off the stamper head. So the best way to remove it is by using your sticky stamping station. Okay, now that that is almost ready, we're going to go ahead and grab our lower quality powder. I'm not going to say where this comes from or whose powder this is in case anyone's curious. Actually, hello. So I could just hold it and do this if you want. And then I go ahead and just like scrape off the excess. Then you just rub the rest into the stamper head. So you can use your little applicator that comes with your powder, because every single time you purchase a powder with us, it actually comes with a little eyeshadow applicator. But sometimes I just like to use my finger. It's easier for me. Also, I'm someone who really likes to like touch and feel things, so it makes more sense for me to do it that way. Okay, now I'm gonna touch this. Let's see. Yep, this is ready. As you can see, there aren't really like any fingerprint marks in it, but it still has like the very slightest bit of tack, and that's what we want. So this is our lower quality powder. I don't know if you guys can tell on camera, but it's pretty evident in person based off of the amount of color shifting that you see. So this is our high quality scarab wings, and this is our low quality powder that we found. As you can see, this powder does not have as much of a dramatic color change. It doesn't have as much of a shift. It kind of looks a lot more one-dimensional to me than this powder does. Can you guys tell the difference? Give me a heart in the comment section if you can tell the difference. And then I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like when I open the container. So this is our scarab wings, and this is the No Name brand. Okay. So even when you're looking at these powders, oh yes, we have a lot of hearts. Everyone can tell the difference. Very good. So when we look at these two powders, you can see when I move this, you can just see all the shimmering pigment inside. It really sparkles in a different way in comparison to this powder, which doesn't show as much pigment shifting. It all kind of looks like one color to me versus this. Oh yes, people are asking about doing the powder technique on your stamper head. It will make your stamper head cloudy over time. That's why if you do this trick, you have to have a designated stamper head for this very particular thing. A torn stamper head works beautifully because you're not going to be using it for stamping, so you can always use a torn stamper head for applying powders. That's what I'm doing today. The stamper head that I'm using has a few nicks in it, so I have repurposed it as a stamping powder head. So as you can see, there is a difference. And you can even see it here too. This nail is so shiny, so pretty, so shifty. Is shifty a word? I don't know. I don't think shifty is a word, but there is a difference in comparison to this powder. And that affects the cost significantly. Some powders, of course, aren't meant to be color shifting. Some powders, for example, like this powder, it's just a metallic chrome powder. It doesn't have like a color shifting specialty like how these duochromes do. But even with that, there are times where you have like lower grade chrome powders, and you'll notice that they don't get as shiny as others. So if you always wonder like, hey, how come it doesn't look as sparkly, or it doesn't look like the photo, or it doesn't look like that image that I'm seeing online, a lot of times it has to do with the powder quality. So for example, if those of you who are familiar with websites like Daily Charm or What's Up Nails, a lot of their powders are around $20 a container. And part of that is because they're giving you a large amount, and the powders that they are using are very, very high quality powders. Maniology knows that for a lot of customers, that can be a really, really big financial investment. And also a lot of customers who shop with Maniology aren't trying to necessarily do 10 clients a day or anything like that. You guys are just doing it on yourself. So because of that, we found a way to give you that high quality powder and maybe give you a little bit less, so that way it's at a good price point that you can try something new. And if you like it, of course, you can always buy more. But that is kind of our solution to be able to give you these things and let you try new products without necessarily, having you break the bank and buy like a huge amount of powder on something that maybe you're new to, you're not sure if you really want to get it, or you just want to experiment. So that was kind of our solution. So I think a lot of times customers are so surprised. They're like, oh, how come, certain powders have more or certain powders have less? That's a huge reason why. So some powders, you'll notice that maybe there's a little bit less in the container, and it's because we are trying to make sure that the price point is something fair and affordable for our clients while still giving you something to try and something new. So each powder that each powder that we get, it's not all the same price point, unfortunately. So for example, flakies, you know, duochrome flakies might cost more than like a holographic glitter, etc. But we need to try to make sure that it's all even, because if we were like, okay, it's going to be $15 for this and $10 for that, you guys would be like, what the heck? So that was our solution, is like, okay, then we'll just give the amount that we can give without having to charge you guys an arm and a leg. So I'm going to work on cleaning my stamper head, and then I'm going to show you guys the other powder. So again, I'm just using my sticky stamper station to get rid of all of the gunk. And then you're going to take your sparkling palm glitter and apply it all over the stamper head. So for this, I recommend recommend using a green base. A lot of times I think black bases work very, very well for metallic powders, for flaky powders, duochrome powders. So many of the powders can do well over just a plain black base. However, because this glitter, even though it's very, very fine, you can see even on my glove, the pigment for the glitter is bigger than the size of the powder pigment. Therefore, there's a higher chance of actually seeing through to the base versus, you know, with these powders, they're so fine that it really covers every surface and nook and cranny of the base, so you don't see any black. However, because our holographic powder is slightly larger in pigment size, there's a higher chance of being able to see like a little bit of that base. So I recommend applying a green base. And again, after we applied our sticky base, this is ready to go. Voila, done. Don't you just love that? All you have to do is stamp it on and it's all good to go. And look, when I turn the nail to the side, please excuse my little fuzzy over here. When I turn the nail to the side, you can see that the glitter does not stick up. So other glitters that have larger pigment size, a lot of times you'll see like a little bumpy texture, but when we turn this to the side, it's completely smooth. That's part of the reason why I wanted to include it in our nail art powders today, because specifically our Sparkling Palms glitter is not like other glitters. It's really, really fine. It's not exactly like a holographic pigment either, even though we do sell those. It's just a little bit different. And I absolutely love it because look at that sheen, look at that shimmer. It's just so amazing. So now I actually have to do a whole nother sheet because I've covered it up all with powder already. And then while I'm cleaning this, I'm gonna show you guys how to work with the other colors. So look at all of our 3 different nails that we tried. I'm going to show you guys what this looks like because this powder is a color shifting powder. It's so cool. There's so many interesting things you can do with it. And I'm going to go ahead and apply my sticky base all over the nail. So part of the reason I wanted to show you what it looks like on white and black. Oh gosh, yeah, dropping the powder is the absolute worst. It's terrifying. It's so difficult to clean. It's like, oh gosh. Talking about that literally gives me anxiety because I have done that on many occasions. So be very careful. Even when you're doing this, which is like kind of naughty. I always like do that, and then I kind of like gently scrape off the excess so that way it falls back into the pot. And then whatever's left, I just rub all over the stamper. Isn't this powder beautiful? You can see like a pink and green effect. I think this is one of my favorites that we sell because it has all these like super cool dual chrome effects. Make sure that when you are working with your powders, do not have a fan on nearby. Make sure your AC's off. You're not going to have like a huge gust of wind come and blow everything away. So you probably don't want to be near an open window while you're doing this. Yeah, I don't sneeze. I've done all of those things. I've sneezed. I've accidentally had the fan going. I mean, there's so many ways that I've accidentally knocked over the powder. So I highly, highly recommend to not do any of those things. Okay, so this nail tip is not ready. As you can see, there's like a little smudge that I just made, which is, it's okay, since today is just a demonstration. Someone asked if we can stamp with the powder. Yes, we can, and I will show you how to do that. So today we really are covering everything to possibly know about powders, glitters, all those things. I'm even going to show you guys how to cap it and protect your powders in the end and what not to use. So we're going to be using this plate today. When you stamp with powders, you want to make sure that the design you're using is not a design that has a lot of thin details. You can if you want to, but I personally do not recommend it. I think it's a lot easier to do designs that are thicker. Okay, I think we're ready to go. So here you go. As you can see, on the black side, it looks like a green powder. On the white side, you see like pink with hints of green, but it's a strong pink look. So that is our Wicked powder. It's really a color shifting like powder. It's transforms all of the powders into something like crazy. So I'm going to show you one more time over a purple base. Green is the new purple. It really is. And look what happens when I put green over purple. So this powder that I'm showing you, I believe it came out in our Halloween box, and I realized that there's all these really cool things you can do with this powder because inside the box there was like a purple polish that came with it, and I remember just being curious and being like, what does this look like over a purple polish? That was one of the best decisions I made, everyone. That was an amazing, gorgeous effect that happened with it. So I will show you in a little bit. In the meantime, I am actually going to grab my other stamper and get it ready for you so that way I can show you how to stamp with it. So while our purple tip is drying, I'm going to use another loved stamper. I have little tears in here, so it's completely fine. And I'm going to cover the whole nail, or the whole stamper, in this, purple powder. So I literally just like do that. I mean, there are other better ways you should be doing this. However, if you're like me and you just like to touch things, this is a perfect solution. So I'm just going to put that on the side. Isn't that purple beautiful, by the way? It's so, so pretty. Let's check our purple base. Is it ready to stamp? Oh yes, it is. Whoops. I think I rushed it, everyone. I got a little smudge, but you can see how it transformed this purple color. It's like a frosted light purple. I wish you guys could see it in person. It is so pretty. So I'm actually going to show you guys what it looks like when we top coat it. So when you are top coating your powders, don't use your speed dry top coat. Use a smudge-free top coat, and I will show you why. Okay, on the low-grade powder sample that we have, I am going to show you what happens. So I'll paint half the nail. you see it just kind of starts getting gritty. Look at the left side. The left side, I didn't put any top coat. The right side, I put our speed dry top coat. So it really makes it look kind of, yeah, I don't know why, it just kind of makes it look gritty. So this isn't just with our top coat, this is all top coats. If you use a regular top coat over powders, it will create this type of weird, like, gritty effect. So you want to use a no smudge formula, or a smudge-free formula, which ours is, I believe it's oil-based. So oil-based or water-based top coat is more ideal because it'll help preserve your powder. So let me try and paint it on this nail. Also, when you are applying powders and applying it over, applying top coat, make sure that there isn't any like excess powder on this nail, because you don't want to accidentally get it all inside your top coat, which is another reason why I highly, highly recommend using a stamper head when you're applying powder, because it guarantees that you only get a very thin layer. You don't have to worry about like getting all kinds of weird powder clumps or there being too much. And that's what can sometimes contribute to having excess powder on the nail tip, which then eventually gets inside your top coat when you apply, and that's just the absolute worst. If you can and you're able to, it's always good to maybe just have another smudge-free top coat that you only dedicate to powders. But if you aren't able to, then just make sure that after you apply it, it dries, or there isn't like any excess. So I want to show you what's happening right here. You see how we have some weird like fogging here? After we applied our smudge-free top coat, don't worry about that. It's just taking time to dry. If this happens to you, there's no need to panic. Just let it go, let it dry completely, and it'll clear, and then it'll look fine. This is just part of the drying process with our smudge-free top coat, because again, it has a very different formula than a regular top coat. So there's no need to, think like, oh no, is it broken? Is something wrong? Is it not working? It works perfectly fine. This is just part of the drying process. So we're gonna go ahead and set this aside. Oh, actually, I lied. I wanna apply the top coat to this because it's just so pretty and I really wanna see what it looks like under there. Yeah, this is really cute. I love the purple and green combo. So we're gonna set these aside, let it do its thing, and while it's drying, I'm gonna show you guys how to stamp with powder. So make sure you have a very dry base. I have a dry black base, which might have not been the best color choice for this, but it's okay. If it doesn't work out, we'll just do another sample. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let's do this design. So I'm gonna turn the plate over towards me, grab my handy dandy scraper, my scraper, which is very loved. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and apply some black stamping polish all over this design. Make sure you have ample amount of stamping polish when you do this technique. Do not skimp on it. This is not the time. I'm gonna put this underneath because I don't want to get the black all over my mat. Voila. How simple was that? So you can even see here, this is like the negative design left over. Let me see. Yeah, I was using the sticky black to stamp. I thought I was using straight up black. You can use straight up black if you want to, but I use the sticky black to stamp it on. Whenever you're stamping with powders, though, you need to move quickly. So if you're going to do this, you don't have time to like apply the polish, wait a couple of seconds, scrape, wait another couple of seconds. Like you need to move fast. Like the whole process of me doing this took all of what, 3 to 4 seconds. But as you can see, this looks very pretty. I'm actually just going to brush away any of the dust. There you go. As you can see, it looks so, so good. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like to actually do it in reverse. So now that I have this leftover design here, you could use that if you want to. All you have to do is apply your sticky base. So we applied our sticky base. We're going to set the nail tip aside for another 30 seconds, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and set that aside. I'm going to go ahead and clean this stamper that we have so that way I can work on the other nail tip for you guys. I'm trying to get good about like demonstrating and talking to you and giving you all the information. It's hard, you know. It's really hard because I know everyone's like, oh man, there's a lot of conversation, but I want to see more action. So I'm like, okay, let me try and keep it going so that way you guys aren't waiting and staring too long on camera. So I just went and set my stamper back in the head. I'm gonna try this powder now. This is Superstition. So this is a gorgeous duochrome hollow powder. It's so pretty. And you really don't need much. Like this is plenty. So we're just gonna go ahead and rub it all over the stamper head. And go ahead and close your powders. Always, always, always completely close your powders. You don't ever want to have a whoopsie. We're gonna check this. Okay, so look at what's happening. You can see that I have a slight fingerprint, but it's not indented. It's just like picking up the oils of my finger. That is what we want. That's how you know it's ready. You'll see that like maybe some of the oils of your finger transfers, but there's no actual fingerprint or indentation from a fingerprint. And that's what we want. So there we go. And look. Now that design is completely gone. So I got 2 designs out of 1 from this. So let me show you guys side by side. So this was the first one we did where we stamped with the actual powder and you can see. And then this is a design where we use the leftover negative space design. And we just applied our sticky base over it. So again, you get 2 nails in 1 design. Isn't that cool? So let me just go ahead and set that aside and apply our sticky base coat again so that way I can show you guys how pretty this holographic orange is, or like a holographic copper. Don't apply too much of this, as I accidentally applied too much of this because it's going to take forever to dry and I just accidentally did it, so it'll be a moment. But while that happens, I want to show you how to do it if you don't have sticky base coat. Oh yeah, if someone's asking about the purple, it's NA022. I believe the color is called Amethyst. I think Tiana mentioned that too. So if you don't have sticky base, you You can do it with just regular polish. However, the timing needs to be flawless. And when I say flawless, it has to be, I mean, you really have to be watching your time and watching the nails if you're going to do it this way. I also don't recommend doing like multiple fingers this way. If you're going to do this, then just do it like one nail at a time. Also, I think this tip that I have had a little like pokey thing right there. It's okay though. We're just doing a demonstration, so it doesn't need to be perfect. So you can just go ahead and apply polish like how you normally would. And then you have to set it on the side to dry. You're going to wait until it gets mostly dry, very, very slightly tacky, but it'll be like 98% dry. Let's check this. Pretty sure that this is too wet because you can see the reflection here is very strong. I can see very clearly the reflection of the light above me, and that usually is an indication that it's still a little too wet. Yeah, just a little bit. You see how there's an indentation of my finger? That's not what we want. What we're looking for is just seeing a smooth finish, but when I touch it, you see oil print, not a fingerprint or an indented fingerprint. So let's check this nail tip. This is still a little bit too wet here as well, but the other parts of the nail, like here, are mostly dry. And if you look at the reflection on the nail, it's not a perfect reflection of the lamp above me. It looks a lot more diffused. It's kind of hard to see the reflection so clearly like how you can here. That's an indication that this is closer to being dry. Okay, let's see if this is... Okay, good. So you see here, we have a mark from my fingerprint. However, it's not an indentation from it. So that means I think we're ready to go. Isn't that beautiful? This is our superstition powder. So it's got a really pretty copper effect while having a very, very pretty hollow effect at the same time. So this is a duochrome copper with hollow powder included as well. Of course, it's a very smooth finish, just like the others. And now let's work on this. So the very, very last powder that I'm going to be doing today isn't a powder at all. It's actually a flaky, but I wanted to include it in our nail art powders because I feel like a lot of times when people think of powders, this is one of the things that they're thinking of too. And as you can see, it is so pretty. Do not sneeze, do not breathe around this. It really clings to like everything and it's so lightweight. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? I'm not even going to rub it around because I don't want to break up the flakies. Whoops. I think this is ready to go. Oh, might have been a little too sticky, a little too dry actually. So this was my fault. This is not wet enough. So you can see it transferred a little bit, but we didn't get a full transfer. So that's part of the other reason why we really like working with the sticky base, because again, the timing has to be so flawless. And I wasn't able to get the timing correct. I took a little too long, and so we got more of a spotty transfer and not a perfect full transfer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply the sticky base coat all over the nail because I really want you guys to see how amazing this powder is, or this flaky is. Like, look at it on camera. You see gold, you see brown, you see green, red, purple, pink. This is the reason why we call it our pixie dust. I even see blue. Did I mention blue? Because I see it. Like even in the container, it just looks so pretty. I could stare at that all day long. So do we have any questions? Have I missed any? We're just going to give this a few moments to dry. It's almost there, not quite yet. Still a little sensitive. Yes, time for pretty to go on the nails. Can powders be put over gel polish? Absolutely. So powders can work over gel polish, they can work over regular polish, they can work over acrylic nails. However, the application for all of these things are going to be a little different. If you're working with gel polish, it's going to be a very different application than how you would normally work with it on regular polish. And that's partially because with regular polish, a lot of times the base is a lot more sensitive, so you can't just like go ahead and rub into it. Or else you just end up ruining your polish base, which is different from gel because once it cures, it's completely hardened, so you can just go ahead and rub it and do whatever you want and won't be affected. So I think we're good to go. Oh yeah. Here we go. Look at that full transfer. It is so, so stinking cute. Amy, if you are using powders on your natural nail, I highly, highly recommend using the stamper trick. The reason why is because if you do the stamper trick, your fingers will stay clean. I've tried it many times. I was like, maybe I could try it right now for you guys. Hold on. Let me set up my stamper first before I go ahead and do this trick because when you're applying sticky base to your actual nail, it dries significantly faster than it does on a nail tip, since the nail tip is, you know, doesn't have like a heat source. So I'm gonna clean my stamper head and then I'm gonna show you guys what happens when I stamp it on my nail. And I'm not gonna use any cuticle tape or anything like that. Oh, Ashley mentioned that she said, powders seem intimidating. I promise once you get the hang of it, you're gonna absolutely love it. And you're gonna be like, why have I not been doing this sooner? Because it's probably one of the quickest ways to get like a really done up nail look without really doing much. So let me just go ahead and clean my stamper well. You can see that I clearly have some tears in it. That's why the powder's stuck in there. That's completely okay. So let's try doing it with we'll just use our purple powder. Also, this is a good way for me to show you guys why it's important to apply a dark base or some sort of base. I personally like darker bases because I feel like it really enhances the powder color, but some people prefer a lighter base. It makes it look a lot softer. So I have a lot of excess on here. You can even see it when I turn it to the side. I'm just gonna go ahead and scrape some of that off into the container. Again, doing that isn't going to tear my stamper because I'm just doing it very lightly and softly. I'm not really trying to like squeeze it down on there and scratch my stamper. So I'm going to do it all over my nail. And I'm not going to put any sort of barrier or anything like that, so you guys can see what it looks like and see how much easier it is to apply. So I'm not really gonna do any kind of like cuticle protector or anything like that. Just gonna let it dry a little bit and then we're gonna go ahead and stamp it on. Let me move all this stuff out of the way and show you guys what we did today. Oh, look, you see? It's completely clear. The fogginess that we saw earlier is completely gone after it dried. So again, if you get a little fogginess when you're applying your sticky stamping or your no smudge top coat, don't worry about it. Once it dries completely, it'll be fine. So let me just go ahead and, oh, no, still kind of wet. You can see it right here. I got a little smudge of my fingerprint. Thank you, Tamara, for the support. We got a lot going on. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 nail tips today, and one more, so 10 nails. Yes, powdering your nails is so much fun. Okay, let's check my nail. Yep, perfect. Look at that. It is practically clean. So we have very minimal fallout, which is right here. I could just wipe that away with my finger. Look, wipe it away, and it's gone. That's it. No need to use cuticle protector, no need to use like latex or any of that kind of stuff around your cuticles. It's very, very easy to just stamp it on. However, if you're doing this, like I said, I recommend a black base, because look at my nail. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's it's not very opaque because the coat for the powder is so thin. And we don't want to necessarily do 2 coats of powder. It's not like regular polish where you do 2 coats of polish. We don't need to do that. You just need to do 1 coat. But that's the reason why we recommend putting a base below, so that way it can really intensify the color and you get more of an effect like this. And you can even see at the nail tip where I had like that this blue color here, the base looks so much better. It looks so much more opaque and vibrant. It really shows that nice, pretty purple, versus when it's just a clear base. Because the layer of powder is so thin, you can see through it. And this is common with all powders. This isn't just going to be our powder, or if you spend more money on a even higher grade powder, or whatever the case is, this will always be the case. So that is the reason why whenever you see people do things with powder, usually they have some sort of base on, unless they're going for like a translucent effect, which can be done with a powder like this. Then you'll see the fact that sometimes people don't do any kind of thing. They'll just do like clear and then do it over. But if you're working with a dark colored powder that is not translucent, you will absolutely need to apply your base to have like the proper effect. I'm so happy that you guys learned a lot. That was the whole point of today's live. I know I kind of talked for a really long time, but I wanted to give you all the details of everything you need to know about powder. So that way, in case you ever have any questions, you guys can always come here. So thank you so much for joining us. If I missed your questions, please forgive me. We will be going back into the question section later and replying. But if you have any other last minute things, comment below, and I'll give you guys just a second before I head out. Also, I can't stop looking at this. It's like I see pink on the sides, purple, green, and blue. It's so cute. You definitely use less powder if you're using it on the stamper head. So someone asked about that. They're like, do you use less powder? Do you not have to waste as much? This is the best way to do it. Because after this, like, I have a little finger mark here. I can just go back and rub it so that way the powder on here, on this side and this side, now cover that spot. So I didn't even have to add any more powder to get another full nail to it. I literally just had to, rearrange the pigment so that way it covers. So again, this is definitely my favorite way to apply powder. And it's the easiest, quickest, cleanest way, because as you saw, I didn't even have to worry about cleaning my cuticle area. So simple. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us. And again, sorry it was a long one, but I had a lot to share with you guys, and I hope you guys learned a lot too. I'll talk to you later. Make sure you @mention us, #us. We love seeing your beautiful creations. And bye. Have a great week.